Thank you.
Let me just take that away. Hi, everybody. I'm Lynn Travis Stender, for those of you that I'm meeting for the first time, and I'm so excited to be here. And I've been a staff teacher with, I feel like that doesn't sound right. I'm going to say part of the Il Castro family for 20 years. This is my 20th anniversary. And I'm going to cry because we all miss Italy. So we're going to do it as best as we can right here. I just wanted to say this is a demo class, a quick one. I tend to love to talk, so I'm going to speed it up and kind of go into a quick review of how I teach. And again, you can try to follow along, but I really would love for you to just observe this class, and then later I'll have the information that you might need if you want the palette and so forth. When I do present a class, I send you a reference for you to print out, a reference photo of what we're going to do. And then I have my supply list. I have my material that you'll need for that specific class in case we change anything. And I typically teach in a 4-week series. So after this, I do want to announce, after this demonstration of Venice, I'm going to continue with doing all scenes of Venice. So it'll be something that you might be interested in. And Venice is close to my heart, as it is one of the most unique places in the world. And one of my favorite painters, Claude Monet, did a whole series there that I actually took some reference of one of his pieces that I want to share with you that was fun for me to have to play with, his style. I love to paint impressionist style. I'm using heavy body acrylics today, and I teach all mediums. I teach watercolor, acrylic. We've done all different series, and I am going to show you, for those of you that are seeing my work for the first time, I just hold it up on this screen. The first series we did, just so you can get a look of what my style is, because I think that's very important when you're wanting to work with a certain teacher. You want to see what their style is and what they might be teaching you. So the first time I started, we did the Seasons of Tuscany, which was starting back in, I'll just do it very quickly. We started with winter, which was in, I think, the end of January I started. And then we went into the 4-week series, spring. I'll do it very quickly. And then summer and fall. I did two sections of fall. This was fall. Now I'm teaching and I'm coming from Boca Raton, Florida. That's where I live. So I have to tell you, most of my classes with Il Castro are scheduled in the fall, because the fall colors are eye candy to me, to see all of the changes of color. And that's why when you're coming from Florida or from a tropical climate, seeing the change of the seasons is very exciting. And then another series I did was all seascapes. And this one, just to show you the versatility, we only used palette knife for this one. So that was a very fun class. And I'll try to go very quickly. Then we did some, here's another one with our water. We did stormy oceans. So we kind of left Tuscany for a little while. And then we did some architecture back to D'Avele, which is where I typically teach in October. And these are some D'Avele scenes. So that's just a little sample of what my subjects were that I chose to teach, just to give you an idea. So today we're going to do Venice, and now I'm going to speed along. For supplies, what I do is I send you the palette and I print it out like this. I'm going to kind of move this over if you want to spotlight this, Linda. I print out my palette just like that, put a little swatch with the names of the colors of the paint. I'll move it over so that you can really see it on camera. And then you'll have that prior to the class. And again, if there's certain colors you don't have, I will show you, and you can just shout that out when we're in a classroom. what you need or what you don't have, and I'll show you how to mix it. So this is my canvas, is going to be small, and I put my little drawing in already. I am using an 8x10 for the sake of time, and I have a little sketch that I do with really just my pointer brush, and it's very loose. Now, that's what I want to talk about, because this does have architecture in it. Anything with landscape is very freeing because there's no man-made objects. When there's a man-made object in your piece, in your subject, we do have to have some guidance of rules and maybe be cognizant of a straight line because we don't want our buildings falling into the canal. And then here is reference piece. So I have the reference piece. I'm going to keep it up here so that you can see it. I ask you to print these out, and I'll tell you why. It's so much easier if you have it in front of you, because then you can move it around as opposed to on your computer. And this is a little trick. When you're, wait, sorry, I don't want to make you dizzy. I'm moving around too much. When you have a reference photograph, the first thing I say, and this is, just my copy on my computer, is you can make a line down the center and a line just with a pencil. This is for you to see where the center is here and where the center is here. And there is your dot. Now, I also want to show you another trick. You can fold it, you can fold your reference, and then you get the same idea. So then you have segmented areas, and it's really helpful to put your painting on, to put your drawing, on your canvas and get it where you want it to be. Now, I'm notorious for adjusting and moving things around. So I want you to have that freedom also. You don't have to have everything exacting. I do want to show you before I begin, I have a piece of tracing paper here because I think it's very important to understand that when you paint, we paint in shapes, and when you draw, and learning and seeing those shapes are really very important, because shapes, here's some shapes. Circle.
Lynn, I just want to interrupt 1 second. You have a brush underneath your canvas that's hiding from you.
A brush under my canvas.
Underneath, yeah.
Okay. Thanks, Linda.
You're welcome.
Circle, triangle, rectangle, square, cylinder, oval. I didn't finish it, parallelogram. And I am going to apologize right out of the gate. My writing and my sketching is very messy, if that's not a great word, but that's the best word I can think of. So I'm a very loose sketcher, and sketching and drawing is very personal. You can be extremely articulate, and that's a great thing, or I make many lines. So I try to keep it simple, and using a marker tames me a little bit. So when you recognize all of your shapes in your subject, it makes it easier. I'll put this over here for a moment to draw. So when I look at my subject over here, I'm going to put this back here for a minute. Actually, I'm going to do this. Here's a piece I started before. This is another tracing paper on the photograph, and here's a parallelogram. Here is another one. Here is a half circle, and I'm going to show you a trick on how to make a perfect dome shape of a circle. Another one, we can say parallelogram on top of a square. And when you start to just identify some shapes, everything will not feel so overwhelming and intimidated. I think drawing will come a lot easier to you. So I have my drawing out already, but I am going to show you with a marker on tracing paper on my canvas. If I identified this whole dome as a circle, we obviously know it's going to go straight here. And then I can put a little, I'm going to do this kind of simple, very basic. I can see a square here. I'm looking at this and I have it drawn out, but if I didn't draw this, this is how I started this with the blue shapes. And drawing again, I'm going to do speed sketching is personal. You put down as much information as you need. I might need just a couple of lines. You might need to put more lines. You might need less lines. That's the part that I give you total freedom with. Here is a long parallel, a rectangle. Here's a little square, and look at, I just put a few marks like that. The gondola poles, I'm not going to do too much with, that's later. But this is a trick about a dome. I just have to share this with you. Whenever you have any type of, even a bridge, anything that's got a structure like this, people tend to say, oh, I can't get that straight. If you find anything with a round top, you've got to find something that looks like the right size. You're just going to go like this and trace it around. And that is going to give you the perfect shape. So that's a little trick with drawing, just so you know. All right, we're going to get right to it. I'm going to move that away, and I'll take questions afterwards if time allows. So when I start out, as far as my brushes, I have a little new set here. These are really student grade, fundamental creative mark, very inexpensive. Flat, some pointers, a large flat, and these can be used for watercolor as well. It's a soft brush. My other brushes that are over here, these are filbert. A filbert brush it's flat with a round, with a round top. Here's another one, some different size flats, and then here is a pointer. So these are for oil or acrylic, and these have a little bit more stiffness to them. Acrylics are extremely versatile, water soluble, and very easy to travel with. I love oils. There's nothing like that buttery feeling of oils, but these are called heavy body acrylics. I use all different brands. Most of this in front of me is Golden and Liquitex brand. I do have some Grumbacher. So these are heavy body acrylics, and they feel very much like oil. But again, being water soluble, they're so versatile. You could do a whole painting with acrylics and make it so aqueous it looks like a watercolor. All right, let's get to it. I'm going to take a little bit of white. This is my, I'm going to move this over. I'm going to maybe put this here so that even though it's on the other side, it's in the same order so you can see what colors I'm using. And I'll try to remember to say them. A little bit of white with my light ultramarine blue, and I'm going to just kind of get in a sky really fast in here. And the best part is it's my decision if I want clouds, if I want movement, whatever I want to do. A little bit of water. My brush is always thirsty when I start. And I'm just going to block this in. It's really fun to do it, speed painting. The blues that I always have in my palette, I always have ultramarine, cobalt, cerulean, and this is called light ultramarine. It's got a little bit of lavender to it, periwinkle. It's a pretty color. But right now I'm going to come down here and I'm going to dip into, this is my cobalt. I'm going to put a little bit of that in to get just a little more depth in here. And when, whoopsie, let me move this over. And what I love about working small, let's get a little cerulean, is we can really blend this beautifully and move it along. Whatever I'm going to put into my sky, I'm going to put down into my water. This is a fault I have that I'm going to tell you right away. I I have tons of brushes. Sometimes I forget to switch them up. It's what I say when I start cooking. I have a favorite pan, and I have beautiful cookware, but I might just keep using that same pan because it's familiar, and I just forget that I've got many others. But guess what? If it's working, it's working. I typically like to use an old rag rather than paper towels, because sometimes you can get a little residue from the paper towel. So I'm just going to kind of stop there and keep a little glow going on behind the dome. I want to add in some of this pretty Naples yellow, but not yet. It'll turn green. So I'll come right down here. Now, remember I said how aqueous this can be? Look at what I'm doing. There's no paint on here. I'm just using water and blocking in and getting the leftover paint right in there to stain it. So now I'm going to get a little more cerulean. Oh boy, this is going to make me so want to be in Venice right now. I hope you're feeling it. And if those of you that are with us today have been on Linda and Michael's Venice trip, there's nothing like it. I want to tell you what I was reading up on Monet. When he went, he didn't go till he was 68 years old, everyone, 1908. And he brought his wife Alice, and he didn't bring canvases. He wanted to go for a vacation with Alice. And they were invited by a mutual friend had the villa, oh gosh, Barbero. And I know it's the one that George Clooney had his wedding in. Linda, do you remember that? We were there, I believe.
Yes, but I don't remember the name of the place.
Yeah, if we look up George Clooney's villa where he had the wedding, this is where Monet and Alice stayed.
Oh, wow, cool.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
yeah, I was looking it up and
Can't think of
reading about it.
Yeah.
Monet, when he got there, he was overwhelmed. He said to his friends and to Alice, "I can't paint here. It's too beautiful." That was his comment. And then, being Monet, he had supplies shipped to him, and he started painting. And most of his paintings, as we know today, I think they said he did 24 paintings when he was there. And he was not satisfied with them again because he said it was just too beautiful. So having said that, Venice, it is like the most magical place, I think, in the world. All right, so now I've blocked that out. I blocked out my water, and now I'm going to kind of place into some reflections in here and the buildings. I am going to switch now to a flat. That was a filbert brush with a little rounded edge. I'm going to switch to a flat because I want to get my dome in here. And if you see that, I'm going to change up colors. I'm going to change it all, and then I'm going to show you when we're almost finished, which I'm going to really move along.
Our reporter on hand here, Patricia P, has looked it up, and it's Palazzo Papadopoli.
Thank you.
I love that name, Papadopoli.
Thank you so much, Patty. I love that. I am going to put in some really fun colors here. I'm going to get a little bit of some orange over here that might suggest some reds. I don't have browns, as you can see, but if you put in a little bit of your yellow into a red, we can get a terracotta. Sometimes in a lesson, I'll only use my 3 primaries, and it is a little challenging because we're used to such an array. Some of you own paint stores in your studios. You have every color imaginable, but I have to say, it's very good practice to really try to eliminate and just stay with basics sometimes. I'm going to come down and get some colors in here. I want to jump over here. Whatever I put somewhere here, I'm going to find it and put it into a building over here. This is my titanium, unbleached titanium white. It's like a cement color, which is a good color. I'm going to put that in there. I'm going to get a little tiny bit of a green because back here, I'm not sure if this would be Giudecca. I think it would still be showing Giudecca, which is the other little island across behind the Salute. I'm so sorry. I'm making assumptions here, but guess what, everyone? This is the view going over the Grand Canal right here from the Academia Bridge. And this is where Monet and many painters, including myself, stood and did paintings of this Salute, which is over here. So I'm making the assumption that you've been to Venice. And if you have not, that's just a little idea of where we are. The Academia
If you
Bridge.
have not, there's also next year. So there you go.
Oh, there we go. We're going, right? Oh my gosh, that's right. So the Academia Bridge, I think it's, Linda, you're going to correct me. Is it the only wooden bridge in all of Venice?
It is the one of the biggest wooden bridges. It's one of the main, one of the first actually wooden bridges, and one of the first bridges. But there are a few others that are smaller.
Okay, so it is magnificent on the, here on this side of it is where, you know, St. Mark's and places, if you've not been to Venice, are very familiar. On this side of it, and right there where I'm pointing, that's the Guggenheim. That's Peggy Guggenheim's museum right there. And over here, this whole area is more residential, called the Dosadoro. And if my Italian needs a little correction, Linda will jump in. But that's where we stay, and we walk back and forth over the Academia Bridge. And right on this side of it, on this side over the bridge, is the beautiful Academia Museum, which has oh, so many magnificent pieces. All right, so I'm blocking in fun colors. As you can see, I'm gonna go like this and get some reflection going on and making this very impressionist. Let's get something really exciting here because I'm looking at this time frame.
We can go over a little for questions and things like that.
Okay, I'm gonna zoom up here though, as quickly as I can. I'm going to try to get in some kind of simple tones just to show some darks in here.
I know that water is one of the most difficult things to paint, wouldn't you say? Or at least that's what I've heard. But then there are other instructors who I listen to who say that it's one of the easiest. It all depends on.
I'm surrounded with water, and so being here in Florida, I see it a lot. I paint it a lot. You know, I'm in a tropical setting, so for me, no, I think the most difficult thing in Venice as a teacher and as a painter is we're narrow with canals, so it's perspective. That's one of the things that I think might be where your eye sees so much that you have to kind of narrow it down. So perspective, but water and reflections are fun to paint. Now this is a little bit of diazonine purple down here. It's very strong, but it makes a great, great dark. Look at, see, I have my brown already. Diazonine purple mixed in with some yellow and some of my red. It has a great dark color to really separate some of these buildings. And over here, get in, whoops, get in a little bit more interest. And now I'm going to get a little brush. I'm going to try to get in just the suggestion of a few marks that might say windows. I'm going to take my ultramarine, and I typically don't use, I prefer indigo to black. I like to mix my darks. I think they're always a little bit more exciting. Black, Payne's gray is okay. Black can turn out very flat. So I've got a little bit of some interest showing in here.
So I just wanted, as you're painting, I want to say a couple of things as because I know I've monitored Lynn's class before. As she paints in her class, we get to a certain point, and then I will spot other folks who are painting because she'll paint with her, and then you get to show her your painting, and she'll make some adjustments or tell you what you're doing good, tell you what needs work, blah blah blah. So throughout the class time, there will be times when you get to show her and others your work, and we all get to see how you're doing, and Lynn will give you some critiques during the painting, and then at the end, do you have them send it in to you and you critique?
I always asked for everyone to send in their pieces so that I can, and always welcome to continue critiquing. I know Wendy's in my audience. Wendy and I have our nice critiques back and forth, and it's good, and I welcome that all the time. And I'm pretty good at answering you right away. So I'm gonna get in some dark in here. I didn't really distinguish where a light source is coming from yet, but I know that our time is up. So I want to just stop for a moment to show you. I didn't get quite as far along as I wanted to, but then I'm going to show you this. This one is one that I did earlier that is really a take on Monet. Actually, this one I didn't do earlier. This was an old one. I'll show you a little one. This is me trying to emulate Monet's style, and his, if you look up his, was all done in blues and purples, and I just changed up all the colors just for fun, just to have fun with it. And I think that's something, as painters, you always need to go with your own creative expression of what you feel. So that has a lot of fun movement in it. And then this one, this was actually, Linda has a sister painting to this that I gave her. This was walking over the Academia Bridge, and I had a little tiny palette, leftover paint, and this was right when the sun was coming down, dusk, and a very quick little sketch of that. So I hope this gave you a little feel of Venice, a little feel of how I paint, and I hope you'll join me in a class. Does anybody have any questions? No?
I also want to add something that has become a surprise to me because we just decided. So we asked Lynn also to do this Venice series, which is going to start in a couple weeks or so. I don't know. We didn't get your dates, but Michael will send them to you.
Yeah, we're going to go over the calendar.
Yeah, at the end of September. I think it's the 29th or something like that. But you'll get a follow-up email to this, as well as this recording, just so you can go over it if you'd like. And actually, we've had a hell of a thing determining, a hell of a time determining with all the craziness if we were going to Italy or not. El Chioso is only doing one workshop at San Fedele, but Michael and I decided, because we were so upset and I felt like my soul was aching, that we are going to Venice. He and I are going to, and Michelina are going to go. Those of us who know, the three musketeers in Venice for a week, just because we can. So Lynn's going to do her class, and we're going to be live from there, giving you some nice views of Venice and things like that for the upcoming class, because we're making that sacrifice for you. We're going so we can take you with us. Our souls are aching, and we just didn't, the responsibility of taking a group and the feelings of it was so difficult. But we thought the least we could do is go ourselves, and we'll have some goodies we'll share with you from there too. I mean, like wine. You'll watch us drink and eat food and stuff. It would be great. Anyway, so I do. Lynn is a wonderful teacher, as all of our teachers are, and we hope that you will join her class. And Michael will follow up with some with the information about when that's going to begin. And I want to thank you all for here. I want to thank Lynn. Lynn, do you have any closing things to say, or anybody have questions or anything?
I just have gratitude for being able to be a teacher and artist. And I always say, I really don't teach you how to paint. I teach you how to see through the eyes of an artist. And that to me is the most valuable gift that we all have. So thank you, everybody. It was great.
Lynn, do you have a website to go to?
Yeah,
I'm
so
in Florida too, so I just wondered if you have anything that you don't do down in Florida.
yes. So my website is Lynn Travis Stender, which is my full name. And also my bio on Il Chiostro on the site, it has all of that information. So you can
Okay,
look
thank you.